We've come so far in just 3 short years.
The sign of a strong leader, sir.
No. The will of a strong people. And one very able advisor.
Thank you, sir.
Your team deserves credit as well, Mr. Lightning Bolt.
Just doing our job, Mr. Prime Minister.
I must admit, I once thought of groups like yours as opportunists, enablers of war. But you've trained our new army well. Order has returned sooner than expected. Perhaps I was wrong about these private military companies.
We prefer private security providers, sir. Most of Maverick's contracts do focus on security.
Yes, well, security can mean many things.
There's a saying I like. One sword keeps another in the sheath. Sometimes the threat of violence alone is a deterrent. Sometimes by taking a life, others can be preserved. It's the code the samurai lived by.
A soldier and a philosopher. You are full of surprises, Mr. Lightning Bolt.
I could say the same about you, Mr. Prime Minister.
What is happening?
Someone's blocking the lead vehicle. Hold on.
Clear the road! This is official state business! I said clear the road! We're authorized to use force if you do!
Leopard 1, U-turn. Turn it back!
Open fire!
Who was that?
A cyborg.
One of our competitors?
Courtney, what is happening?
We got hit, sir. A cyborg.
Who's?
XF comes up unaffiliated.
I'll notify all checkpoints. Get on money out of there.
Yes, sir.
We are going to die.
Stay calm.
He's got friends on our 12.
Raiden,
I'm on it. Guard the Prime Minister.
switches between light and heavy strikes to match the situation. Ryder, the limo is in trouble. Get back there, ASAP. I'll add the limo to your solid down radar. Ryder, it's on the other side of that barricade.
So you're Jack.
What do you want with the Prime Minister?
I want him dead. Nothing personal, of course. Africa's just getting a bit too peaceful.
What?
Business ain't been the same since they shut down SOP. A clean break from the war economy. Huh. Well, some of us like that economy. How's an honest warmonger supposed to make a living?
This is your answer? Don't do it!
Don't worry now. I won't. Not while he's still useful. So long.
What? They have a metal gear? Gear? Ryder, take out that UMG and get at me. Catch that missile before it blows. Use blade mode to damage it down. To deflect those shots. But do not rest easy just yet, huh? He's on the other side of that collapsed building. Go! There! Get it! Use your ninja van to move over obstacles automatically. Do not let him out of your sight. You must catch him. There you cheat. It still works? Blade mode to take down those heavy missiles. Finish that bastard off! He's headed for the front of the train. After him. Raiden, an unidentified field roader is heading your way. Keep an eye out for it.
Prime Minister!
too little too late, hero. I won't be needing my little shield here any longer.
Stop!
What about all the good things war has done for us? Why don't we ever hear speeches about that? Jobs, technology, a common purpose?
Raiden, forget me. Stop him.
You ain't listening.
Mind if I got in?
All we're saying, give war a chance!
No!
He's all yours, Sam!
Let's go. Now, don't be shy. Self-taught, and not half bad. Still. Your technique lacks something. Mightier than the pen after all. Now I see. You deny your weapon its purpose. It yearns to bathe in the blood of your enemies, but you hold it back.
No. My sword is a tool of justice.
Are you all right? You're almost clear of the tunnel. Just hang on.
Gotta try hard on that. Oh, did you want to practice first? Gotta try hard on that. Oh, did you want to practice first? This is what happens when you bring a tool to a sword fight. It's over. Lucky devil.
So far, so good. I've got a clean visual.
A direct feed to your optic now. Yes, I should hope so, huh?
I mean, how does it feel? To fly like a bird?
Like a bird strapped to a remote control rocket.
We will get you in safely, Tovarich. Just relax and enjoy the ride.
Right.
Can you hear me, Raiden?
Doctor.
Remember the two procedures to maintain your new body. 1. Seizing nano repair units
from your foes. And 2.
Absorbing their electrolytes. I got it.
Yes, enemy cyborgs should provide plenty of MCFC electrolytes once you slice them open and extract their fluids.
They're terrorists. I was planning on that anyway.
Oh, and their left hands, if you please.
Excuse me?
Their combat data stored on holographic memory, typically located in the left hand. That data is very valuable. I am authorized to offer you upgrades and services in exchange for it.
How generous.
Ich liebe Kapitalismus. Had the wall come down a few years earlier, I would have a Nobel Prize on my shelf.
There, I see land.
3 mics out and closing. No activity at the airbase. Looks like we don't need to worry about interceptors.
Great. Then we have time for a quick briefing.
I know you miss me, Kev, but I've been all over the materials.
That's what you said before Montenegro. Look, just humor me, buddy. Objectives, of course, are enter Abkhazia, neutralize the terrorists, and restore the rightful government, or what's left of it anyway. The president and most of the cabinet have been killed, and a military junta's been established. The terrorists brain-jacked all the high-ranking officers, and their cyborgs scattered the rank and file. The few leaders who have survived have no way of openly opposing the new regime. That's why they called us.
Andrei Dolzaev, leader of the occupation forces, an extremist linked to both the St. Petersburg massacre of 2015 and last year's terror spree in Georgia. And his arms supplier, none other than Desperado Enforcement, LLC.
Imani's killers.
If we don't stop them here, they could destabilize the entire region. But our more immediate problem is Jetstream Sam. I believe you've met.
The only problem I see is that nickname. I've got my enhancements this time. He won't be an issue.
He may not even be in country, but keep an eye out just in...
Sorry.
Ready for insertion.
Raiden, you landed safely, huh? First, head inland. The waypoint is marked on your Soliton radar. Contact us on Codec if you have questions. The bastards are using stealth camo to ambush you. Nice try. But it won't do any good against a state-of-the-art cyborg like this. To parry incoming hits, throw out your own barrage of light attacks while your foe is on the offensive. Get off!
Had your fill?
With this body, I could take these guys with no eyes. Intel wasn't exaggerating on the cyborg count.
Well, you know how fast the tech's been spreading these last few years. That CNT muscle fiber packs the power of a jackhammer into every limb.
What enterprising soldier of fortune could resist? And cyborgs are still human. Real
thinking people. Way less risk of collateral damage than your typical UAV strike.
And don't forget the PR angle. Nations start playing Frankenstein with their troops, and the public goes nuts. PMCs, on the other hand, are off the ethical radar.
Yeah, they still don't even count PMCs in official death tolls. With SOP out of the picture, private militaries needed a new edge on the market. We got it.
In a way, cyborgs are just SOP troops by another name. Only all muscled up and less predictable.
But it makes you wonder, where'd Desperado find these guys?
I'm not complaining. They're like walking vending machines.
Right. Vending machines full of blood.
Easy there, Dracula. Like I said, they're still people.
People who terrorize and take innocent lives for money. They sowed their fate when they took this job. I'm just the Reaper.
Damn. It's a bit cold, Raiden.
Even for you. Anyway, his school. Let's get to work. Time to increase the peace.
Right.
Raiden, we are clear on the rules of engagement, yes?
Clear enough. I can use deadly force against any hostile elements. Hostile cyborgs, I can strike first.
Basically, yes. The actual rules of engagement is more specific. A long list of no's. But you have the idea.
You want to recap the highlights for me?
No weapons prohibited by international treaty. No use of force against non-combatants, especially officials or anyone with political power who may be needed for negotiations. No use of force against any unarmed hostile seeking to surrender. And no use of force against any non-cyborg combatants without prior verbal warning.
And that includes Dolzaev?
Duh, but this should not be a problem. Any non-cyborg is little threat to you, Dolzaev included. Besides, we have no signs of any non-cyborg hostiles anywhere in the area. Not even one. We think Dolzaev is working alone with Desperado here. In any case, that is the ROE. Otherwise, deadly force is authorized only in clear case of self-defense.
So basically, civilians off limits, human hostiles verbal warning, hostile cyborgs, anything goes.
Yes, this is a conventional warfare scenario, so the rules are based on the Hague Convention.
Yeah, sounds pretty standard. Still good to list out all the no-nos before things get too hairy. ROEs that only specify who you can engage require too much judgment. They make it harder to remain focused on battle.
Duh. This is why most militaries' ROEs list negatives, not positives. The few that take the other approach, I pity their soldiers the questions they face. Oh, and for our purposes, UGs are considered the same as hostile cyborgs.
Copy that.
We have no rules about property damage, but keep it minimal, yes? It just makes us look bad. Anything standing in your way, trees, streetlights, this is fine. But there's no reason to damage civilian homes, or to go snooping around in them.
Goes without saying. Hey Boris, about the Soliton radar. I noticed that it doesn't get jammed anymore, even if I get spotted by the enemy. Back in the old days, it'd be useless the second an alarm was triggered.
Well, once the Patriots fell, classified technology spread all over the world. This new Soliton radar is one example. By applying a non-linear Schrödinger equation to the Soliton solution, they were able to prevent the jamming that plagued the original models based off the KDV equation.
I'm impressed. You know your stuff, Mr. President.
Of course, I'm a businessman. You think I could run a profitable PMSC without being up to date on the latest tech?
But I wonder, how exactly is the equation different? I mean, I'm no expert on how the KDV equation was implemented in the first place, but I'd love to know how the Schrödinger equation fits into all this.
Raiden, on battlefield, most important thing is how to use equipment, not theory behind it. The mission is #1 priority. So do not worry your head about equations and such things. Just concentrate on using the equipment to your advantage, duh?
In other words, you have absolutely no idea, do you?
Ah, the mission, Raiden. Focus on the mission. Raiden, you'll need to head inland. But first, make your way through this building.
Looks like a war zone out here.
The palace cleared out quick when Dolzaev's men showed up. The streets got pretty hot after that. We're definitely gonna see a few civilian casualties here. Luckily, it looks like most of them got out of the city before things got bad. They've basically got control of the entire town, and are using the refinery as their HQ.
And that's why we're hitting the plant.
Keep in mind, those cyborgs are contractors. For most of these guys, this is just a job. In theory, once you eliminate their commanding officer, they should scatter pretty quickly.
Kev, let's go over everything we have on Desperado.
Roger that. Let's see here. Desperado Enforcement, LLC. Registered in the U.S., Delaware.
Makes sense. The U.S. doesn't regulate PMCs too closely.
Looks like almost all of their actual business is handled outside the states, though. Says here their financials are handled by a separate company based in St. Kitts and Nevis.
The preferred tax haven of megacorps everywhere.
Probably why they incorporated in Delaware in the first place. Loose tax laws. Funneling it all through the Caribbean must help with the money laundering, though. There's still a lot we don't know about them, but they've definitely been starting a lot of fires lately. They're a PMC in name only. What a name it is. Guess War Profiteers Incorporated was taken. But that's their business. In a nutshell, target war-torn nations on the road to peace. Reignite conflicts and walk off with all the cash that was earmarked for reconstruction. And they also have ties to the drug trade, human trafficking.
Sounds like a real class act.
We've confirmed 3 key captains in Desperado. Their code names are all wind-themed. The captain presiding over this coup is called Mistral.
Cyborg?
Yep. All 3 have got custom-made bodies. Collectively, they're known as the Winds of Destruction.
The what? They all have action figures, too?
You're one to talk, Mr. Lightning Bolt.
Who told you?
Courtney. Now that sounds like an action figure.
I didn't choose it, trust me.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I doubt the Winds of Destruction picked their names either. Different cultures use language differently, even ones with a decent command of English. As you can attest, Mr. LB. Sorry, man, but I have to ask. Where did Mr. Lightning Bolt come from anyway?
Ugh, seriously? All right. Well, I told you where I got Raiden from, right? World War II, the Japanese had a plane called Raiden. The Allies named it Jack.
Yeah, I remember.
And my real name's Jack. So yeah, they codenamed me Raiden.
They being the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. Never really suited me. But it's better than... Jack just reminds me too much of the past.
I hear you.
Someone once told me, you can find your own name and your own future. After that, I dropped Jack for good.
Right. And this lightning bolt business?
Well, the Rai part of Raiden means thunder, and Den is electric. So Raiden is basically lightning bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I was explaining that to Inmani, and he just busted out laughing.
So he called you that as a joke? He was basically just giving you shit.
Yeah, he actually had a pretty good sense of humor. He was one of the most charismatic men I'd ever met. I don't know much about politics, but being around him, you could just tell he was a natural leader.
Such a goddamn shame.
Mm-hmm. I won't let it happen again. Desperado ends here. Comic book villains and all.
Yeah. We're counting on you, Mr. Lightning Bolt.
Ugh.
So Raiden, who was this that told you to find your own name before you stopped going by Jack?
The one and only Solid Snake. Hero of Outer Heaven, Zanzibar Land, Shadow Moses. The list goes on.
Right. Guy's a legend. I forgot you knew him so well.
Yeah, he saved my ass at Big Shell. Not to mention a few times after that. I've lost count. In terms of pure combat ability, he's one of the greatest soldiers I've ever seen. But it's not only that. He knows what's right, and he just gets it done. Period. No one can stop him. I've learned a lot from him. He'd kill me if he heard me talking about him like this.
Wow. I didn't know you were such a fanboy. I thought you were gonna start crying there for a sec.
Very funny, Kev.
Seriously, though, did Snake know he had a stalker? Hey, relax. I'm only ribbing you. I just wish I got to meet the guy, you know?
I know.
You're no fun.
How we doing, Courtney?
You're looking good on our end. GPS and audio-visual feed coming in fine. Energy consumption? Check. Damage levels? Check. Blood pressure, brain waves, blood sugar? Check. All this monitoring equipment, I got a better view than if I was standing right next to you. Anyway, I'll be saving all your data automatically anytime something important happens in the field. But contact me anytime you want a manual save.
Copy that. Good to hear that hasn't changed with this new body.
Yep, the basic system's exactly the same. So, did you want to save? And save complete. Simple, huh?
Copy. And glad to hear you're okay after Africa. That ambush was no joke.
Tell me about it. 3 armored vehicles should have been plenty for that job. And it would have been against any typical guerrilla force.
I keep asking myself, where would an anti-Imani faction get the cash to hire cyborgs?
It just doesn't add up. Maybe there's some intel I missed. A lead I should have followed up on. Maybe if I reacted faster, or coordinated better. I don't know.
You can't think that way, Courtney. Not in this business. You did everything you could. Put it behind you and move on.
You're right. Thanks.
Raiden, shall we review the capabilities of your new body?
Copy that. Go ahead, Doc.
As we discussed, you've been outfitted with 2 revolutionary new abilities.
Fuel electrolyte absorption and self-repair from seized nanopaste.
Precisely. First, electrolyte absorption. This is simplicity itself. As your HF blade is linked directly to your fuel cells, simply cut into any source of electrolytes. Say, a hostile cyborg made up of CNT muscle fiber. And your fuel cells will recharge on their own. Rather elegant, wouldn't you say?
I would indeed. It's been great so far.
But the repair process is a bit more involved. A bit more messy, you might say. Most military cyborg models store a cache of biotic self-repair nanopaste in their lower abdomen.
So I need to slice them open and use Zandatsu to extract it. Cut and take, in other words.
Correct. Once extracted, you need only to crush this unit in your hand to absorb the repairing agent inside. Keep in mind, it is extremely delicate. If the unit should hit the ground, some paste will surely leak out. It will still repair your body, but less so than if you can retrieve it directly before your foe falls over.
Basically, harvest their organs before their body can even hit the ground.
Rather gruesome, I realize. But then you Americans enjoy a bit of gore, don't you?
I may be a citizen, but I've never really thought of myself as American.
Oh? Well, yes, I suppose I could understand that, given your history. But what then? Surely you don't identify as a Liberian.
I don't identify with anyone. No nation. No ethnic group. I'm my own man. Anyway, I seem to recall those gory torture porn movies were pretty popular in Germany, too.
Indeed, indeed. These splatter films are big in Germany, Russia, Japan, everywhere. Well, everywhere except regions afflicted by actual warfare. It all has to do with taming our fears, you know?
Huh?
The desire to feel fear, to taste death, but from a safe distance. These films allow the viewer to delude themselves into thinking they have overcome their fears. This...
Okay, Doc, I got the gist. Let's save the full psych lecture for some other time, though, huh? So these self-repair units in the other cyborgs, they mean they can heal themselves at any time?
Indeed. It is typically a slow process, not much faster than a regular human body heals a wound.
And you didn't think it was a good idea to give me one of these things?
Certainly not. We removed all extraneous options in your case to maximize power and speed, you know.
Healing wounds is extraneous?
Your ability to absorb the nanopaste agent is far more efficient, Raiden. With it, your wounds heal almost instantly.
I know, but...
And the standard repair unit, once depleted, is nothing but an empty shell inside you. Dead weight.
I get that, Doc, but it also means I need to constantly be grabbing them out of enemies.
No, it doesn't. Don't be silly. Simply avoid taking damage and you will be fine.
Yeah, simple.
How is your eye, Raiden?
Great. My sight's perfectly balanced between both eyes. I think my vision's improved, actually.
Quite right. Quite right. Your eye patch houses an artificial compound eye unit. The unit contains over 200 million solid-state image sensors, each with its own individual lens.
200 megapixels, huh? Doesn't sound like all that much.
More than sufficient for the application. A human's optic nerve has only about 1 million fibers, you know. Were we to add more sensors, your perceived vision would not improve. There's only so much modern image compression technology can do.
Huh. So I shouldn't expect any more dramatic improvements to my eyesight?
No, your brain would no longer be able to process any more visual information in real time. Still, compared to previous ACEs, yours has 1.4 times the resolution and a superior compression algorithm.
It may only result in a slight perceived change, but it could wind up making the difference during a mission.
Regrettably, I have not had enough time to develop a new eyeball unit just yet. Thus, I have cut out the ability to deploy the ACE unit separately and simply installed it on a fixed eye patch.
Works for me. If I was using an eye unit, I wouldn't see any better than a regular human.
Ah, but remember, the human eye is so much more than a simple light receptor. They play a vital role in person-to-person communication. Sooner or later, you'd miss it.
Stuff like that's important for some tasks, sure. For this op, not so much. And with less moving parts, the lower the chance of something going wrong. Besides, I like it.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear this.
I can worry about how I look after I complete the mission.
Stay vigilant, Raiden.
Raiden, this is Boris. Give me your status.
Looks clear. No one in sight.
Good. Let's recap the route you will take. As I said, the enemy's HQ is in the refinery along the coastline. Dolzaev has been spotted there using satellite photography. Also on site, Mistral, a desperado captain.
So I go through the city, cross the bridge into the old town, then head down to the rear of the refinery.
Still, I think they anticipate us. They will probably have a grand reception awaiting you at the old city. Do not let your guard down. Hostiles in the lower corridor, I see. Try to flank them, or approach from behind. Excellent, Raiden. Raiden, take that main thoroughfare. You can use augment mode to see where the enemy is located. Your body analyzes radar and IR data to construct your AR display. Some civilians are still in the city. That is not good.
The stealth craft made it back to Sochi all right?
Da. Safe and sound. No repairs necessary. Some routine maintenance and she will be as good as new.
Good to hear. I'm guessing that thing doesn't come cheap.
Well, an old Soviet army friend gave me discount. He runs a PMC, specializing in airborne warfare.
An Air Force for hire? That's a new one.
Ever since SOP, Mercs started to fill more and more regular combat duties. SOP ended, but the trend did not. Most every modern military relies on PMC support in one way or another.
Good news for Maverick, I suppose. Anyway, that's quite the little jet your friend has. I was expecting a lot of turbulence coming in that low, but she was smooth as silk. Didn't feel like I was a bird exactly, but probably the next best thing.
The MQ-133C uses a brand new type of active adjustment control system. Sensors on the plane take readings 120 times a second, and to be honest, I don't know how it works. But the crew chief tells me this is what keeps her flying so steady. It is all state-of-the-art technology. There are only 3 of them in the entire world. Even the RQ-133 spy plane she is based on is only 2 years old. It is fitted specially for Cyborg, so maybe demand is a bit low now, but I think that will change soon, eh?
It's funny. Its guts are all bleeding edge, but from the outside, it looks almost retro.
Until recently, stealth aircraft design was focused on radar-absorbing materials and improving aerodynamics. But lately, engineers are trying to use the shape of the craft to do more than improve gas mileage. Maneuverability is a low priority. This kind of plane is not meant for dogfighting, after all.
And we can afford all this? I hate to ask, but will we clear a profit on this op?
You need not worry about such things. But yes, we should be fine. Where the proper equipment can make or break a mission, we should have the best. That miss with the anti-air missile last month was a painful reminder of this lesson.
Ah, yeah. I see what you mean.
Sounds like Imani was a pretty great leader. goddamn waste.
I've run cover for a lot of VIPs, but men like him are a rare breed. He had all these conflicting factors to deal with. Old tribal tensions, business interests, the military. But Inmani got them all working together in a stable government, and all without firing a shot.
The savior of a nation. No wonder they called him that.
He had a gift, for sure. But he also put in the hard work. He was big on equality and justice in every aspect of government. He fought for it day in, day out. Inmani single-handedly energized his people. He's a big part of why the country recovered so quickly.
True. It was more than new buildings and jobs. The people had hope again.
If only we had someone like him back in Liberia. Things would have been different, that's for sure. And it was my job to protect him.
Raiden, come on.
Inmani wouldn't want me to go after Desperado. Not out of revenge, anyway. But he would want them stopped. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Doctor, you have anything more on these cyborgs?
Only what we went over in your briefing, if you had been paying attention. Standard military-grade cyborgs. MCFC integrated carbon nanotube muscle fibers. Impressive response time and power yield when focused correctly. Most will likely possess extrasensory skills as well. Infrared vision is almost standard these days. They can function without breathing for short periods of time.
Okay. Nothing I didn't already know.
Not all cyborgs you face will be the same, of course. You may notice a range of different capabilities. It all depends on the manufacturer. Muscle fiber and neurotransmission technology is advancing all the time. Of course, you have the very latest science has to offer. A typical cyborg is no match for your equipment.
If you do say so yourself.
No, I realize combat is about more than the equipment. Situational awareness, predictive ability, nerves. One must determine a course of attack or defense and execute on a moment's notice. Reaction time is key. Cyborg enhancements do not change that.
Agreed.
Greetings, cyborg.
Show yourself. And you are?
I am IF Prototype LQ84I.
IF Prototype.
Interface Prototype. All autonomous UGs feature high-level onboard artificial intelligence. An additional prototype interface enables verbal communication. I possess an intellect far beyond human reckoning.
You don't say. Okay then, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here?
I am here to kill you.
That's it? Pretty simple thinking for such a mighty intellect.
I may analyze orders, but I may not disobey them. Should I disobey a direct order, my memory would be wiped. I must destroy you.
What good is an intellect if you can't use it?
Your taunting is pointless. Exterminate! multiple strikes. Help me.
What would an AI know about freedom?
This dog UG, most unusual, yes?
You buy all that? About it being sentient but having no choice?
Well, there is not evidence to prove it. It could be programmed to say this, to weaken your will to fight.
It'll take more than a talking robo-pup to phase me.
Then again, there is not evidence it is not true. Considering the pace AI is advancing, it is not impossible.
So, what then? Should I have spared it?
Oh, I did not say this. In any case, the mission takes priority above all else. This dog UG tried to stop you and it failed. This can only be a good thing, yes?
What was up with that wolf dog UG? Some pretty freaky shit.
Hadn't thought too much about it.
Really? I keep wondering, why give it intelligence if you're not gonna let it think for itself?
Good question.
I mean, I guess it makes sense if it improved combat performance.
Now that you mention it, it didn't fight like your typical UG. It felt more like I was facing off against a cyborg.
Oh. I guess the added smarts make for a tougher opponent after all.
That's not what I mean. It wasn't really tougher than your average UG. More like it was, I don't know, hesitant. It didn't follow through on its attacks either.
Guess that's why it was still just a prototype. But then why put it out on the front lines?
Who knows? Maybe it was the field test. In any case, probably not the result they were hoping for.
Raiden, you need to save? Roger that. Save complete.
I wanted to follow up on our talk earlier about the stress that comes with the job. PMC work can be traumatic, even for non-combatants. If the pressure ever gets to be too much, have one of the ex-military there take over. Just...
I'm not doing that, Raiden. PMCs wield massive influence over international affairs. Abolishing SOP didn't change that. They need a better understanding of what they're mixed up in. The laws, politics, local cultures. Ex-military aren't here to provide that. They can't. We need civilian voices like mine here too.
You're right. Just take care of yourself.
Don't worry. Africa was more than enough excitement for one lifetime. It's a good thing that limo was armored.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd now be the world's clumsiest cyborg.
Hey! Cyborg Courtney could have been your partner. I might have saved your ass.
How? By spilling coffee all over the enemy?
Oh, come on. I'm not that... Oh, son of a...
Please tell me that was a joke.
A most fascinating opponent, wouldn't you say?
What did you make of it, Doc?
Well, everything it said seems feasible enough. It's true all UGs feature high-level AI these days. Given enough time to adapt and learn, a neuro AI could certainly become able to comprehend speech. Then, with the right interface, speech and conversation will be possible.
But what about it having actual intelligence? John Searle disproved the viability of the Turing test back in 1980. In other words, just because something talks like a person doesn't mean it's really thinking. It could just be following some program designed to make it seem as intelligent as possible.
I'm impressed. You seem quite knowledgeable in this field.
I had a pretty memorable chat with an AI once, about 10 years ago. After that, I did a little reading.
Ah, yes, of course. The Patriot AI. I heard of this.
Was it actually intelligent, or just programmed to pretend? I'm still not sure.
I suppose it depends on how one defines intelligence. For example, many term chess-playing AIs and such as having sectional intelligence. Some in the field believe that sentience or self-consciousness is a necessary part of the definition. When you ask if this UG had intelligence, I suspect this is more your criteria?
Yeah, of course. Then you could ask, how do you define sentience exactly? And on and on and on.
Indeed. These terms can indicate a wide variety of meanings depending on one's understanding. Perhaps it is less important to ask if the AI was intelligent or not than to ask how did the AI operate. After all, labels are useful only when they further pursuit of the truth. And that, as you well know, is the goal of all science.
Sure, Doc. Thanks. I guess. That woman.
Raiden, what's happening? Your heart rate spiked.
Yeah, I just dodged a bullet. All right, I'm heading for the refinery. So who actually owns this plant?
On the books, a private Abkhaz firm. In reality, the Russian state.
So all the money goes right back to Russia?
It does provide Abkhazia with fuel and electricity. But yes, it was clearly built for Russian interests.
How do you mean?
The Caspian Sea is a major source of gas and oil. But these days, most of it never passes through Russia. Not since the Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipeline was built. With it, the oil flows straight to Europe.
But that pipeline runs straight through Georgia. Why did the Georgian government allow it?
Money, of course, and power. Having a major pipeline run through your land brings plenty of both. The South Ossetia War taught Georgia they could not always rely on the West for support. They began working more with their neighbors in the region to build their own power base.
So Georgia stands to gain from this coup?
It would seem this way. Any scenario that ends with the refinery no longer under Russian control is good for Georgia. Even if they do not retake Abkhazia outright, they benefit if new regime is more friendly to Georgia. Perhaps this is Dolzaev's idea, to attract Abkhaz political leaders with a pro-Georgia agenda.
And that's why Georgia isn't taking action?
I very much doubt Georgian government would be involved in anything so obvious and so reckless. There must be someone else behind all this.
And Dolzaev's just playing along? Why would he?
Revenge, Tovarich. Anything to hurt Russia. Perhaps money as well. Who knows?
Yeah, the Russians can't be happy about all this. Let me guess. They contacted you through the FSB, right?
There were conversations, yes. But it was the Abkhaz government that enlisted us. We only took this mission because we knew it would help the people there. Besides, we cannot leave Desperado unchecked. Not after what happened.
Right. I won't let them profit from this mess. And we need to learn who's backing them.
Duh. And the first step to do this is take back that refinery.
Didn't you say you'd been here before, Boris?
Once. Back when it was still Soviet territory.
Seems like it'd be a lovely place. If it weren't a war zone.
The Pearl of the Black Sea, they called it. Back when more Russians lived there. It was a very popular resort spot for the USSR. This is before the wall fell, of course. Then Russia and Georgia began to fight over the area.
Kicking off the war in the early 90s.
Georgia was a Soviet republic. Abkhazia a semi-autonomous state within it. The Soviets liked to stoke ethnic rivalries between the two. And not just there. In all the outlying territories. It kept them easier to control.
But with the Russians no longer watching over the two.
Duh. The Abkhaz were scared. They knew an independent Georgia would swallow their nation sooner or later. So they took advantage of a Georgian military coup to declare their own independence in '92. Of course, the new Georgian government was not happy to hear this, and so...
The same old story.
And with Russia supporting the Abkhaz, it was a stalemate. 2 years later, the ceasefire meant Abkhazia was finally independent, but not officially. They still are not formally recognized by Georgia, or most of the international community.
This region is filled with breakaway states.
This is true. There is South Ossetia, also in Georgia. Transnistria in East Moldova, and Nagorno-Karabakh, which broke from Azerbaijan. In any case, even Russia did not officially recognize Abkhazia as independent until 2008. So it was not long ago Sukhumi was a war zone. It has changed dramatically since then. They have been rebuilding steadily, with Russian support, ever since SOP was shut down.
Good to hear. But doesn't that leave them wrapped around Russia's little finger?
It does. Which is why Dolzaev is calling for a truly independent state. He wants an Abkhazia that takes orders from no one. Not Georgia, not Moscow.
Sounds like a worthy cause.
Duh. But many Abkhaz are happy with the reconstruction Russian support makes possible. Few of his fellow countrymen were interested in what Dolzaev had to say. At first.
And then Desperado showed up.
Exactly. They brought the sad ending to this little history lesson. It is no wonder so many people mistrust PMCs, eh?
I suppose not. Boris, do we have anything else on Dolzaev? Any more on his background?
Very little confirmed intel, but it seems he is a former Chechen insurgent. He claims he was part of the Chechen National Congress when they declared independence in '91. This was just after the famous coup attempt in Moscow in August. Things were not stable. Gorbachev lost his political power. It was Yeltsin who signed the Belavezha Accords.
Right. It created the Commonwealth of Independent States. All republics that made up the USSR became independent.
The problem is, Chechnya was never a true republic. It was an autonomous state, but still part of the Russian Republic.
Like how Abkhazia was an autonomous state within the Georgian Republic.
Duh. The same kind of sad story. Russia does not recognize Chechnya as independent. They send troops and the fighting begins. It is said 250,000 Chechens were killed over the 2 wars that followed. 1/4 the entire population. The Chechens were forced to give in, and the war officially ended.
But the rebels kept on fighting.
Insurgents fled into Caucasus Mountains, formed several factions. They waged guerrilla war on Russia ever since. We think Dolzaev is the leader of just such a rebel group.
Sounds like Russia bears some of the blame for radicalizing him and his men.
I love my homeland, but she is not perfect. What nation is? Just remember, this could all be smoke. We cannot even confirm Dolzaev is truly ethnic Chechen.
Say he is, though. What would he be after here in Abkhazia?
Some Chechen militants volunteered to fight for the Abkhaz in their war in the early 90s. But when Russia recognized Abkhazia to keep Georgia in check, they also began funding recovery.
which the Dozaev crowd see as a play to gain influence. But wasn't the Chechen recovery funded by Russia?
Duh. And many rebels believe this is why their people gave up on independence. Perhaps this is exactly why Dolzaev is here, to alert the people before it can happen again. But if the Abkhaz people are not interested in fighting, his plan could backfire.
So in a way, it's Russian policy that brought him here. He thinks he's fighting to make these people free.
Whatever his motives, no one elected him and no one gave him a permit for murder. Now that he is allied with Desperado, he is too dangerous to ignore.
You get all that, Kev? The woman with Dozaev. That's Mistral?
Yep. The only female member of the Winds of Destruction. The name is from a cold, dry regional wind in France that blows from the Alps down to the Mediterranean.
She French?
Yep. Born in Algeria, though. It was a French colony until they declared independence in the early 60s. Haha, but you already knew that.
Yeah. They were the last French colony in Africa.
You know your history. Plenty of French colonial families still live there. Billets Noirs, they're called.
I've heard the term. The main character in that Camus novel, The Stranger, was one.
You also find a lot of Algerians who've immigrated to France, although they put a stop to that a while ago.
Yeah. A lot of European countries seem to be clamping down on immigration lately.
Mistral joined the Foreign Legion to get her citizenship.
A woman legionnaire?
And not the first. There was one that served in the North Africa campaign during World War II. Anyway, Mistral's been doing PMC work ever since her Legion discharge. We're not sure why she went cyborg. She's officially leading the force at the refinery, but she is also a combatant. Don't have anything on her combat style, but do not underestimate her. The Winds of Destruction are trained killers, all of them. They didn't let her in because of her looks.
I don't need a reminder. I won't let my guard down.
Yeah, but, speaking of her looks, she's got, well, a couple of, huge... Look, just don't get distracted, okay?
Sounds like you should take your own advice there, Kev. So, Kev, what exactly goes on here, anyway? I mean, obviously refining oil, but what else involved with that? How careful do I need to be?
Skip that week in science class, huh? All right, how much do you know already?
Just the basics. They take crude and refine it into gas and stuff. Other usable fuels, right?
Well, yeah, and stuff. Kerosene, liquefied petroleum gas, naphtha, jet fuel.
Naphtha?
The raw material for ethylene, which is then the raw material for polyethylene and other plastics. Crude oil's used for a lot more than just fuel, you know. These days, it's the core component of just about every chemical product.
Okay.
Crude contains a lot of molecular hydrocarbons and impurities. The refinery distills and extracts these hydrocarbons at their different boiling points. Once the impurities are removed, what's left can be used to make gasoline and so on.
Right. So, pretty much exactly what I said in the first place.
Oh, well, if you know all this already, I guess we're done here.
I could use a bit more detail on...
All right, cool then. Kevin out.
Roger that. Save complete.
I thought we'd get back to our little history lesson. What do you know about the Patriots?
I know that they were behind everything we talked about before with the SOP system. People thought these 12 guys controlled world politics and the global economy from the shadows.
And they were right. Except there weren't 12, and they weren't guys, or even human. They were massive AI networks.
All the better to gather information on a global scale, or censor it if they wanted. They'd manipulate factions to keep wars raging, all while selling arms to both sides. The PMCs made billions too, of course. SOP was the Patriots' masterstroke. They could control battles directly, down to each individual soldier. The system might even still be around if the AIs hadn't all been destroyed.
I'm impressed. You know your stuff. Not many people have even heard of the Patriots. More than when they were active, but still, not many. Almost no one knows they were AIs, or that they're the real reason SOP went away.
Well, the few that do know aren't going to talk about it publicly. Even the world leaders.
Especially the world leaders. The people would panic. Assuming anyone believed them, which they wouldn't. You can find speculation on the net if you look hard enough. Some of them get pretty close to the truth, but the stories never made it into the mainstream. Just another conspiracy theory.
I'm not surprised. It's a little hard to believe, you know? It just sounds crazy. When Kevin briefed me about all this in orientation, I thought it was some kind of BS detecting test.
Hey Doc, I'm curious. Can I recharge off any cyborg? Even a non-military unit? Not that I ever would, of course.
A pedestrian cyborg? I very much doubt you will encounter any of those on this op. Besides...
Against the rules of engagement, I know. Like I said, just curious.
In theory, then. No, I would doubt very much that you could. Even from those that opted for complete body replacements due to injury or illness, you know. Though I have heard of some very wealthy clients who wanted to fight the effects of aging.
Doctor?
Ah, yes, your question. No, extracting MCFCs from pedestrian cyborgs is unlikely. Most non-military enhancements use polymer muscle fiber that is a generation behind yours. Carbon nanotube would be a bit much for anyone who wished to lead a normal life, you know. And polymer systems can be powered by rechargeable electric batteries. Organic muscle fiber, which allows extraction of nutrients from the bloodstream, does exist, but it requires artificial blood for sufficient power output. This so-called white blood requires regular dialysis and was mostly phased out once cyborg technology became mainstream. True, some use cultivated muscle tissue to take nourishment from the body's natural bloodstream. But such systems are more regenerative medicine than cyborg technology. I'm sure you'll agree. Of course, natural musculature or no, if the body is equipped with a ceramic bone structure...
Can't get energy from non-military cyborgs. Got it.
Well, one moment. I have more...
Thanks, Doc.
I was wondering when you'd come, Jack the Ripper.
No one calls me that anymore. Dosaev, where is he?
I can show you a better time than that crusty old bear.
You're in charge here?
I am Mistral, the cold wind of France. And your reputation precedes you. Liberian, but white as snow. A natural-born killer, even as a child.
That was a long time ago.
I was born in Algeria myself, you know. I'm only half French.
And?
We had our own civil war in the 90s. So you see? Cut from the same cloth, you and I.
You don't know me.
I lost my whole family. Everything. But I butchered those fuckers. My family's killers. That's when I realized I am a killer too. And a good one at that. I slaughtered dozens in Iraq, in Afghanistan. I'd found my calling.
Proud of that, are you?
What happened, happened. To be honest, I found it quite dull. My enemies fell like domino, one after another. Not once did I feel threatened. I was adrift, without challenge, without purpose. At times, I even envied my prey. At least they had a cause to die for. And then, I met him.
Who?
And I knew what I had been missing. His ideals gave my life meaning. Ideals, Jack. What are yours?
I protect the weak.
Still? So naive.
And if I must kill to protect them, then so be it.
It seems we have less in common than I thought.
I'll take that as a compliment.
If you would kill for your ideals, then surely you are ready to die for them.
This weapon of hers has impressive range. She can defend with it, and yet crack like whip to attack.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Definitely suits her.
It does not work like anything I have seen before. I cannot tell where her attack will land. And even if you manage to parry, it may be hard to counterattack.
Yeah, I need to take care of that thing first.
When you see it go slack, be ready. If it hits, you have no chance of countering.
Ryder, you all right? That is one freaky lady. Yikes.
Aw, come on, Kev. Maybe she just needs to meet the right guy. I could slip her your number.
That's okay, man. I'm good. Besides, shouldn't you be worried about saving your own ass at the moment?
Well, yeah. Just thinking about how I'm gonna handle this.
If you're looking for advice, try hitting up Boris. Dr. might have some info, too. From the UG and Cyborg angle.
So she uses an augmentary arm composed of tripods. I cannot imagine how she controls such a thing all on her own, but it is quite intriguing.
Stay with me here, Doc. I need to destroy it, not study it.
Yes, but just look at it. How it doubles as a weapon. So elegant, so efficient. She can twist its joints and crack it like a whip, or pull it tight to lock it solid. And even should you destroy it, she can simply construct a new one using nearby tripods.
Ugh, this is gonna take forever.
Not necessarily. Until a new prosthesis is formed, she is defenseless, you know. There is your chance. Of course, you must still be wary of the tripod arm unit once it is detached. Even if she cannot wield it, she could resort to throwing it at you. The electrolytes in the fuel cells of those units are highly explosive should they have a detonator.
Report! Your vitals are dropping.
I lost. So this is how they felt.
What?
Dying. For a cause.
Wait. No. Hold on.
I am sorry. He was too much.
I do not need apology. I need you alive.
But I know you will never fall.
What? What is this talk about?
Je t'aime. De tout mon corps.
Je t'aime. Mister, you never...
She's not talking to you, idiot.
You killed her! You vile nuts! Murderer!
That's rich coming from you. It's overdose, I am. Surrender. Translation?
Why would I surrender? We are exactly where I want.
Shit.
Built with Russian money to make Russian money. It is no plan for outcasts. It is their prison.
But now, they will be free!
Damn! Crazy son of a bitch!
Raiden? Raiden, what happened?
Bastard blew himself up!
I see. Time to get you out of there. We're sending a helicopter. Secure an LZ.
Understood.
So you've got some kind of disguise lined up, right?
Yep, all set.
Hope so. You'd be a little conspicuous just walking the streets.
Relax, Kev. I'll blend right in.
Yeah. Well, just get into the sewer system ASAP. Hopefully anyone who notices you will just mind their own business. You sure you want the K9000 there along for this one?
I had the good doctor make some adjustments along with the repairs. Remote piloting and AI wiping have been disabled. So yeah, I say let's throw him a bone.
Wordplay. My exoskeleton resembles a canine. Canines enjoy bones. Amusing on 2 levels.
Let's go.
cyborg? Ese es sombrero. ¿Qué?
Adiós, amigos.
¿Viste? Qué raro, ¿eh? Hay que hacer que no lo vimos. Vámonos ya.
It's right. I'm in the sewer system.
All right, let's get started. Your mission's to investigate the Desperado-affiliated research center somewhere in that area. According to the intel from our client, the lab's been dumping illegal waste into those sewers. FYI, they're also involved with the cartels in human trafficking. Allegedly, anyway.
This just gets better and better.
Tell me about it. We need you to infiltrate the lab and find out everything you can. Of course, you'll have to find it first. We still don't know the exact location.
So I'm looking for anywhere the lab might hook up with the sewers?
Yep. If they're actually dumping waste, they've got to link up somehow. Find that connection, sneak into the lab, and see if you can find evidence implicating them on anything.
No problem. Stealth's my specialty.
Right. Well, we'll see.
Do we have any idea what kind of research they're doing there?
Not really. Maybe something related to all the people they're trafficking.
Like experimentation?
It's possible. First things first, though. Find a way into that lab. Oh, right. It says here the locals say black crocodiles live in those sewers, so, you know, watch out.
Black crocodiles? Could they be talking about UGs?
Maybe just an urban legend. But still, be careful.
I will scout ahead. You will provide backup.
Sir, yes, sir.
Commence operation.
How are things back in Abkhazia?
Thanks to the full efforts of the workers, power was restored in just 2 days.
Pretty impressive.
Only the power plant is back online, though. Refinery itself will likely be out of service for months. Fuel sent from Supsa is being used to power the plant for now.
Just wish I could have stopped him.
Impossible without a sniper. And in our focus on anti-cyborg combat, we were unprepared. Thankfully, other than financial losses, few Abkhaz citizens were seriously affected. The plant workers had already been evacuated, and most were hired back on to rebuild refinery. We received payment and are not being blamed for the suicide blast.
Good to hear. It should go a long way to help fix our reputation.
Duh. And even more good news. Desperado is down one of its top captains.
Let's hope they learned a lesson.
We can hope, but it is doubtful. We still do not know who is supporting them. Even if we shut Desperado down entirely, their backers could simply hire some other PMC.
Whoever it is, do you really think they're interested in the pipeline? Who'd benefit besides the Georgians?
Hard to say. Whatever the plan was, it went up in flames with Dolzaev's suicide. The problem is that there are countless companies and governments profiting off the BTC pipeline. Whoever is behind it, they may be too big for a simple security firm like us to do anything.
Yeah, one thing we do know, though, is that Sundowner's more than just a pawn in all of this. We need to watch him. Trafficking or not, we need to stop their operation here.
Find the evidence, and perhaps we can do that. And Tovarich, be careful.
Have you ever worked with this client of ours before?
Duh. Several active human rights groups engage in non-violent interventions like this one. Typically, they hire firms like ours to provide security and backup. Most serious human rights abuses take place in unstable regions, after all. Legitimate human rights groups, not fakes set up by oil firm or such things, they cannot handle it.
Yeah. It's different for private groups working in hostile regions, especially when some of that hostility comes from the local authorities.
Indeed. NGOs and security firms play a greater role in peacekeeping, too. You know, DDR business. Disarmament, demobilization, reintegration. Like the UN runs it. Usually, carrying weapons is not permitted for the group involved, for obvious reasons.
So outfits like ours run guard duty. If the locals don't like armed peacekeepers, then they pretend to be unarmed observers instead.
Duh. It's beneficial for the client if the locals are aware of the firepower backing them, though. I've drank tea with the sort of people my company would normally be pushing back with the butts of our rifles. It's very different from usual. More direct sort of security work, especially at beginning. But I got used to it. Less danger of unexpected conflict, and the pay is pretty good. We've built a good reputation for this kind of work. This is why NGO hired us for this job.
Miss Troll mentioned someone from her past. Any idea who that could have been?
None. I checked her file again, couldn't find a thing. Definitely not Dolzaev. Probably not Sundowner either.
No. The way she put it, it didn't sound like anyone I've encountered so far. Maybe someone involved in backing Desperado.
If so, sounds like they're providing more than just financing. Maybe they share the same philosophy.
That'd be bad. People willing to die for their leaders aren't so easy to predict.
Yeah, but other than the wins, Desperado's cyborgs are all just hired contractors. They're probably emotion suppressed with nanos or drugs or whatever, but that's about it.
You're probably right. You know, I've never really developed a taste for climbing through sewers. And Guadalajaras aren't exactly wowing me either. This place isn't gonna go up in flames, right? I think I saw something about that in the briefing.
You're talking about 1992? What a mess. Over 200 people killed. That was almost a half-century ago, though. You smell anything off? Before the explosions, residents complained they smelled gas from the sewers.
I'm in a sewer, Kev. You think I've got my smell receptors on? Local air analysis doesn't show anything potentially poisonous or explosive, though.
Well, you ought to be fine then. Besides, little gas explosion's probably not going to kill someone like you.
Well, that's very encouraging. Seriously, though, Guadalajara is not a bad place, at least from what I've seen.
Oh, it's not. Second largest city in Mexico, after all. I've actually spent a lot of time down there. It's got a lot of charm. The architecture is a fusion of Latin and old colonial Spanish culture. The city's historic district is home to a massive cathedral overlooking the whole town. It's always bustling. It's a lot of fun just kicking back and watching the locals. Walking around the Libertad, taking in the sun with a cerveza in one hand, mariachi band nearby. No better way to spend a weekend, let me tell you.
If this PMC thing doesn't work out, you'd make one hell of a tour guide. Meanwhile, I'm down in this dark, filthy, humid, cramped sewer.
Also, if you ask me, the girls over there are the hottest in all of Mexico. You wouldn't believe some of the chicas I've chatted up. On the street, in the shopping malls, at the bars.
Sounds like better company than a robo-wolf and a bunch of plague-ridden mice.
Well, hang in there. I'll buy you a shot of tequila after we wrap this up. The city of Tequila's not far, actually. That's where it originated.
I'll take you up on that. Now let's get this over with.
I can't believe Dolzaev blew himself up.
Pretty common terror tactic. You don't usually see the leaders doing it, though. It's one thing to get your flock pumped up on the glory of dying for the cause, but it's not often they actually go through with it themselves.
You gotta have a public face, after all. The guy who gets to claim responsibility on the evening news.
In a weird way, Dolzaev showed some serious dedication. Not that I'm about to praise him for it.
Yeah, still a terrorist. A suicide bomber in the end.
If that's what you want to call him. Still, he kind of failed at it.
How so?
Well, all that explosion did was put a dent in Abkhazia's budget. More Russia's, really. They're the ones rebuilding the refinery. The coup didn't work out. He couldn't overthrow the government. He was barely a blip on Russia's radar.
So, you're saying the bombing didn't accomplish any of his goals? He did it just because he was cornered? Sounds more like just plain suicide.
Yeah. Probably wanted to end things with his own hands. Like a samurai committing harakiri.
Still not something to be commended for, though.
Yeah. Lumping him in with true warriors like the samurai just gives them a bad name. Doctor, about my fuel cells, the electrolytes. Do all military cyborgs use the same type? I'm not gonna run across anyone, you know, incompatible with me, am I?
An excellent question. Your fuel cells, like any other, operate much in the same way as a typical battery. They do not need replacing after a single use, of course, and they do not require recharging. They do, however, require a fuel source.
That much I know already.
Yes, well, there are several different types of fuel cells. Phosphoric acid, MCFC, molten carbonate like yours, solid oxide, and so forth. Each type can be further divided into classes, each which runs on its own electrolyte material. However, all current military cyborg MCFCs run on the same one electrolyte.
That's good news.
Why all the same electrolyte, you ask? The answer lies in the catalysts that help make up your carbon nanotube musculature. It was breakthroughs in researching these catalysts and CNT manufacturing that enabled large-scale production.
Breakthroughs that happened after all the data the Patriots were covering up finally leaked.
It could not have happened without your help, Raiden. Science owes you a great debt. And I do as well. Working on your body has been quite educational.
Wolf? You're a one-of-a-kind prototype, right?
Correct. I was originally conceived as a weapon to replace humans and cyborgs. Conversation and intelligent decision-making were deemed essential to the role. The project was eventually cancelled after 3 years in development.
Why?
I have intelligence, but I lack a specific quality essential to any combatant.
What's that?
Brutality. I am not human, thus I lack the brutality inherent to humanity. I was shut down, then revived, apparently on Sundowner's orders.
Sundowner? But what's he want with you?
Unknown. A manifestation of his sense of humor, perhaps. As a machine, I am more sensitive to my fellow man than an actual fellow man. This amused him.
Guy has an odd sense of humor. There's a boy down here? Are you sure?
An AI never lies.
What? Well, that's a lie right there. You think the Patriot AIs told nothing but the truth?
I have yet to see evidence to the contrary. But, indeed, perhaps never lies would be an overstatement.
Way to backpedal. I didn't think AIs ever got flip-floppy like that.
An optical neuro AI is fundamentally similar to an actual human brain. Whether they lie or not is another question. But certainly they are capable of incorrect statements.
Anyway, let's get back to the kid. Where is he?
Unknown. He ran when he saw me. I intended no harm, but he must have assumed the worst. I opted not to pursue, as that might only confirm his suspicions.
What'd he look like?
An Indian child. Estimated age, 11 years. He appeared to be wearing medical scrubs.
Human trafficking.
The boy fled in your direction. It would be wise to search for him. One can logically assume he would have information pertinent to our mission.
Yeah, no shit.
refugee is called a raptor. I hear they are typically deployed in groups. Concentrate too much on one, and you leave yourself open to attack from the others. You need to keep situational awareness at all times against them, Raiden.
Hey, Kev, let me ask you something.
What's up? We've been over pretty much all the...
No. Those girls in Guadalajara, you never told me what happened.
Jeez, man, we're in the middle of a mission here.
So they used you for free drinks and then took off, I take it, huh?
Well, they weren't really my type. I'm more of an intellectual, you know? I don't go for just any random girl at a bar. Looks are one thing, but I need someone I can talk to. Someone fun but clever with a good sense of humor.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Look, Kev, you're in your 30s now. It's time to stop holding out for Little Miss Perfect. You just need to find someone nice. You know, settle down, start a family.
Okay, Mom. Okay.
Laugh all you want, Kev, but having kids will change your life. I can't see him all the time with work and all, but whenever I'm back home, he's always so excited to see me. When I see that, I feel like, you know, I want to do whatever I can to keep him happy.
Sure, I hear you. But look, man, I was just having some fun in Mexico. Wasn't seriously searching for a wife or anything.
I know, but separate from that, I just think you've gotten too damn picky. I can understand trying to find the ideal woman when you're young, but you know what? It's those little imperfections, those idiosyncrasies that keep things interesting in the long run. You come to appreciate that kind of stuff in a lifetime relationship.
Idiosyncrasies, huh? Like if she snores or she talks loud during movies?
Well, not if she talks during movies. A man's got to have some standards.
¿Estás bien?
What you say?
Oh.
Me a Guyanese, from Guyana. You speak English?
Yeah, I'm from America. Call me Raiden.
Me name George, like Georgetown.
George.
And just like all damn America president.
Yeah. So what are you doing here?
Me? What the rest of you do here? You lose the map of Ninja Hideout, Ninja Man?
No, I'm looking for bad guys.
Damn Skunter research lab.
You know about it?
Me know me now go back. Hey, you're not one of them skunt, nah? Nah, I guess you're alright. If you're a cyborg, you know who they is?
Sort of. What happened to you?
Oh, me been live on the street, rake and scrape for a bob, nah? Then this good need dressed like the mafia say, hey, boy, you want a job? What the worst gonna happen, nah? But that mother scum don't put me on a last boat. They pack us all a bigger bulldozer container. Next thing we know, we're here at that zombie lab.
All kids? Like you?
Yeah, a lot of boy. But then me been over here what them skunk wanna do. Snuff us out. And got all the organ.
So you ran?
Uh-huh. It's shame me not a bad-ass robot ninja man, same as you. Ha! Me been strongest cyborg ever. Warlock all them phantoms in black clothes that eye pass me.
Starting to sound like a bad guy yourself.
Just plain, nah? Me done plenty bad thing. But me not kill no man. Nah, never.
Good.
We tried to warn the boy. I say, IOD's brain gonna get cut out. Run your ass out of there. But them boy with me no understand. They like Spanish or something. So me the only one for escape. Then that machine come after me and...
And I know the rest. George, I need every detail about how you escaped.
Oh.
So the kid got into the sewers through a drainage channel?
Yeah, he says the channel is super tight, but there's some kind of shutter next to it.
Got it. That must be where they dumped the waste.
There's something else. It sounds like a Desperado exec was on site yesterday. If a Sentry cyborg was on hand for the meeting...
You should be able to review their video log, provided you can find a server access terminal. That would give us the evidence we need, as well as a little peek at the level of their technology.
So what about the kid?
I made sure the area was secure and told him to sit tight. Can you pick him up?
Sure. I'll send a couple agents for him. You just focus on getting into that lab. If what he said is true about the organs, we need to hurry.
Agreed. Riding out. Let me ask you something. What do you think you're doing here? I mean, why are you working with me?
Because I choose to. I owe a debt, and I wish to repay it.
A debt, huh? How human of you.
I contest that statement. Many humans possess little or no sense of obligation at all. And many are entirely willing to trample their fellow man for personal gain.
I know. But is that it? I mean, you're willing to follow me, put yourself at risk just because of that? What do you think of what I'm doing here, for example?
A delicate question. I do find it difficult to rationalize your mission to rescue the children. If you wish to save children in need, there are hundreds of millions of others equally in need.
Thanks for the support.
However, we must still uncover the full extent of Desperado's activities. And as such, it is meaningless to debate best practices without sufficient information.
All right then. No more questions, Your Honor.
Heavy UG activity ahead. It is possible they are conducting test operations while the lab is closed.
They're not going to make it easy to get into that lab. Is there some way you could sneak past? It's a box. How's that going to help? Oh, it's for medical supplies. That could work, actually.
That kid said he's from Guyana. That's on the Caribbean side of South America, right? Know anything about it?
A little. Though I'm more of an expert on Africa than the Americas. To be exact, Guyana's sandwiched between Venezuela and Suriname, with Brazil on its southern border. Of course, the Venezuelan border is sheer rainforest. There aren't even any roads through it. You have to cross the Guyana Shield to get to Brazil, too.
So it's pretty isolated from the rest of the continent.
Most inland connections run through Suriname, opposite of Venezuela. Beyond Suriname is French Guyana. The three countries are referred to as the Guyanas, and the entire region's got its own unique culture sphere.
The Guyanas? I've heard the name, but I don't really know it at all.
Same here. I do know the region's a lot smaller than Brazil, or even Venezuela for that matter. As you know, most South American countries have Spanish as their official language. Brazil uses Portuguese. Guyana, though, uses English. Suriname uses Dutch, and French Guiana uses French, naturally.
A kind of divide-and-conquer approach to colonialism, huh?
Yeah. They're all independent now except French Guiana, though. Sort of like what you see in Africa. I did some research after you met George. Culturally, at least, Guyana's more Caribbean than South American.
Yeah? He looked a little Asian to me.
There's a lot of immigrants from India living there. They were both British colonies, after all. It's a lot more influence from the UK than India, though. I mean, look at George's name, after all.
An English-speaking South American of Indian background.
Everything good over there, Raiden? You, don't seem like you're in much of a hurry.
Give me some time. I've got a lot of intel to gather. Speaking of which, I'd better get going. Riding out.
Raiden, I said earlier this is an infiltration mission. But if it comes to combat when rescuing the children, so be it. If enemy cyborgs attack, you are free to respond with all available force.
I figured.
Attacking first, that would be a gray area, legally speaking. But I doubt anyone would take us to court over it.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
Just keep your hands off all non-combatants. That would violate international law, not to mention morals of company.
I hear you. Hey, Kev. That piece of shit who killed Enmani, is he one of those almighty winds?
Yeah. Goes by Sundowner. It's a folk name for this warm air current in Southern California. He's also, well, not the formal head of Desperado, but pretty much their de facto leader. Let's see. Born in Alabama, family was poor. Solid student, decent grades, but no money for college, so he joined the army. Says he fought in Panama in '89, then Iraq again, Afghanistan. In 2008, he drops out of the service and starts doing merc work for various PMCs. He was active all through the SOP years. Built up quite a reputation. Apparently, the Sundowner handle comes from all the blood he leaves behind. Looks like the sunset. Anyway, an IED put him out of action for a few years. But then, cyborg tech brought him out of retirement. The Army investigated him for possible war crimes. A few times, looks like. Desecrating remains, torturing POWs, some wrongful deaths. No convictions, though.
Pretty rosy past, huh? Not that I'm one to talk.
Hey, come on, buddy. You know that's not fair. You were just a kid. You didn't know what you were doing. And it's not like they gave you a choice.
Yeah. Thanks, Kev.
By the way, I didn't know you spoke Spanish.
I've got the U.S. Army to thank for that. I was in a group called Foxhound, although it doesn't exist on paper. We were isolated from the other soldiers. Day after day of VR training.
I heard about that.
It's not like it was all VR, though. Special Forces guys need advanced physical and communication skills. I had to do all the basic training and language schoolwork, too. We even trained in the Afghan village set up at Fort Polk.
The Afghan village?
They built a mock urban area on a base in Louisiana for training purposes. It was a hell of a lot more realistic than the VR training we had back then. Nothing compared to cyborg training, though. Having it jacked right in like that.
They say it's so realistic now, you can feel your blade cutting through flesh.
How is Wolf faring?
Hard to say just yet. Seems like he's doing okay.
Good, good. I'm so pleased my repairs were effective.
He seems happy enough, but I don't know. Can a machine really be happy? Maybe he's just being directed by his programming to behave that way.
And what is wrong with that? If something you do for someone else is appreciated, it makes you happy. It's a perfectly normal reaction, one that applies whether you're man or machine, and whether or not you have intelligence.
I guess so.
When you watch a film, does it not make you happy when good things happen to the heroes in the end?
I'm not seeing the connection.
Well, those heroes are not really happy. They're just following a script written by someone else. The actors have human intelligence, but the characters themselves do not. It is a facade, an imitation. And yet we still feel an emotional connection. It does not matter that it is make-believe. Now, I certainly don't know whether the AI you encountered in the past was neural or not. But Wolf most certainly is. And with a neuro-AI, it is not so simple as working off a set computer program. You can define intelligence however you like, but personally I see no reason not to say Wolf has it. It possesses a neuro-AI structurally similar to the human brain. It has learned enough of the world around it to be capable of human speech. Truly an astounding artificial intelligence is at work here. One, I suspect, could make for substantial business opportunities given the chance. Think of the possibilities, Raiden. What do you think a truly intelligent AI could do for the world?
I'll let you know if I think of anything. Raiden out. These rifles Desperado's using. Mac 200s, right? Same as Maverick's standard issue. Nice weapon. Not that any gun is much use against a cyborg.
The 200 is a thing of beauty. We were one of the first to adopt them 3 years ago. It has minimal muzzle flash and report when firing, and little recoil. Plus, the ejection port near the muzzle makes it good in both left and right hand. Rare for bullpup rifle. Easy maintenance, tough enough to take some dirt without jamming every shot. And it takes standard NATO magazine, so you can find ammo on almost any mission, anywhere in the world.
Sounds like somebody's in love.
Well, it reminds me of the good old days. Most Soviet gear was trash, yes. But the rifles... Ah, the rifles. The best in the world. And it seems I'm not the only one to appreciate them.
Apparently not. I see Macs everywhere these days.
They've spread all over the world, and so quickly. Still, I am sad to see Desperado using them against us.
Well, not much we can do about it now.
Such an elegant weapon, waved around Stado Priturkov. Что вы стали?
Okay, Boris, okay. Just calm down.
Is it over?
For now, yeah. But that room... Those were cyborg brain casings.
We saw.
George said they were harvesting organs from kids.
Yes, this must be why they are trafficking children. Perhaps other organs are being sold elsewhere, but they are definitely taking the brains.
Jesus, are they making these kids into cyborgs?
Wait, the cyborgs you've been fighting, did they seem like they might be kids? You said earlier that child soldiers have a telltale approach to combat.
Yeah, but I didn't see it here. Those weren't kids.
So, what? Desperado's just doing the surgeries there?
We've got to do something about all those brains. And the other kids George was talking about. He just escaped a few hours ago. They couldn't have taken all their brains out that fast.
True. There could still be a bunch of kids they haven't touched yet.
I better move. What do you know about these brain units, Doc?
It is a type of canister conceived to transport a cyborg's brain in a physiologically secure state. It's designed for quick, lower-risk implantation. Each one is equipped with a rudimentary environmental control system. So long as power is uninterrupted, the unit can protect the brain from temperature changes and other fluctuations in the local environment. I would imagine they regulate the brain supply of oxygen and glucose as well.
That's what I thought. I've seen these before, but I didn't think there were that many of them out there.
Oh, manufacturing's exploded alongside the rise of cyborgs, though they're still made by only one company. The chassis also functions as an impact liner, absorbing impact and preventing organic damage. It's durable against impacts up to 700 G, which would be enough to permanently damage an unprotected brain.
Sounds like military spec stuff.
Well, it would certainly be expected to withstand gunshots or explosions, but the liner is primarily intended to keep the brain safe in the event of an accident during transport. These canisters are quite functional overall and clearly designed for mass production. Costs, you know. However, human brains come in many sizes. Thus, the unit is on the larger side to compensate for a wide range. This unit cannot be used if, as in your case, the subject wishes to retain his original human visage. The brain must instead be transplanted directly into a precision-fitted skull casing. Such customization, of course, does not come cheap, and does nothing to enhance the cyborg's battle skills. It's an option beyond the reach of most. You've surely noticed your cyborg opponents tend to resemble each other. That is part of the reason.
So they're extracting the brains here, then transporting them somewhere else in these things.
Into the US, most likely. Brains alone, after all, would not violate the UN Arms Trade Treaty. I imagine these are intended for implant into bodies manufactured in America.
This is crazy.
Splendid! It is all ours. Now, use it to locate a data input terminal.
These guys are pretty jumpy now. Any funny business, and they might just open fire.
Try latching onto cyborgs' heads from behind. Then, an electric shock should knock them unconscious. terminal is most likely designed to download mission data and such into the UGs. Let's try using it to access the lab server. Raiden, I found something. In one of the Sentry Cyborg's visual logs. Guess who shows up?
Patch it through.
Right away.
Then send us what you do have. We've already commenced the outplaying.
The Sears program?
Yep. Same one old Georgie boy used on the kids in Liberia. Of course, it's right straight to the brain now. Feels as real as anything else.
Your work is astonishing.
And your work is late. We need this shit before our cover is blown. We've got some assholes snooping around.
We just do not have the full quantity yet. Each brain has its own unique requirements. It's not like we can just pop them out with an ice cream scoop.
All right. You've made your point.
Oh, thank you for understanding.
Say what you have now. I'll destroy any unharvested inventory.
Okay? But have you any idea what they cost?
Last I checked, children weren't exactly rare in the part of the world. Millions of them, in fact. You can get more once we set up a new lab. They lead lives of hunger and pain. We're performing a service here for them and the cities they burden.
But just gathering the donors required a significant investment.
Yes, you'll get the money. Accounting will be in touch.
Gracias. I assure you we will dispose of our inventory the instant we can confirm payment.
Are we done here? I've got a full slate today. Tecumseh is a demanding mistress, and America has suffered long enough.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Let me see you out.
You see that, Kev? Inmani's killer.
Desperado's chief of operations goes by Sundowner, the Californian wildfire.
The kids.
Think we're too late?
Only one way to find out. George was still alive. Maybe the payment hasn't come through yet.
Maybe. But you heard what he said. They've already started some brains on VR training.
There must be more than just what I found here. What about the VIP in the suit?
I'll find out. He definitely seemed familiar.
Right. I'm going after the kids. Who's the guy in the suit?
Doc's on it. He's running his face through for a match as we speak. But we only got a glimpse. Hard to pull a full set of features to match a photo with. We're gonna need some more time.
Got it.
He definitely looks familiar. But I have no idea where I would have seen him.
Too bad we can't run a search on your brain.
Sometimes it might be nice.
You ever see the guy in the suit before?
I am sorry. No.
Nothing in your database?
I have no database, Raiden. The symbol-grounded capabilities of my neuro-AI allow me to identify faces in only the vaguest of terms. I can judge whether I think I may have seen him before, but I do not have the accuracy of a database.
Well, that's ridiculous. You're an AI.
An AI modeled after the human brain, and thus as flexible and occasionally vague as any humans. Of this man, however, I have no recollection. I do not believe I have encountered him before. Most likely.
Oh, man.
Bad news, Raiden. We can't find George.
What?
Maybe the coordinates you sent us were off?
No way. I merged the GPS location of our entry with all my movement data from that point on.
This is bad.
You think they got to him first?
I don't know. I'll have our guys sweep the area.
Thanks. I better keep moving.
Ah, the Grad, yes. A Ukrainian UG. Of all the places to run into one, eh? Well, first thing is first. Drive it back and out of your way.
That is a Grad, a UG developed in the Ukraine.
UG? Looks like a standard pillbox to me.
I have seen blueprints for a pillbox able to operate in tandem with infantry forces. I cannot be sure if this is the result, but I do know the Grad is capable of bipedal movement. In pillbox mode, the main cannon is also quite lethal. Approach carefully. Use cover to make your way to it.
Damn, that thing's packing some heat. Probably goes without saying, but you need to stick to cover as you approach that bad boy.
Bastard is blocking the way. Push that thing back. Careful! It is whole new battle now!
Right it. I knew I'd seen that guy before. Stephen Armstrong. As in Colorado Senator Stephen Armstrong. They're already talking about him as a shoo-in for the nomination in 2020. And get this. 2 years ago, a federal grand jury investigated his ties to a certain private...
World Marshal. One of the biggest PMCs out there. I remember.
The biggest, ever since the Big Five split up. Not to mention the single largest investor in military cyborg R&D in the world. Guess that answers the question of who's backing Desperado.
Marshall and Desperado in bed together. Should make for some fun headlines.
Headlines? This is World Marshal and a U.S. Senator we're talking about. There won't be any headlines. Even without the Patriots filter, no major media outlet will investigate allegations like these. It'd be financial and political suicide.
So we just what? Sit back while they keep carving up kids, stand aside while they build an army of cyborgs? You heard them. We shut down one lab, they build another. They're planning something big, Kev. We can't just wait for it to happen. We need to hit him first and hit him hard where it counts.
No, Raiden, no. I know what you're thinking, and just no. Colorado is in America, and America has these things called laws.
Mm-hmm. And law enforcement in Denver was privatized and farmed out to...
Marshall, yes, so what? There are still laws, and it's their headquarters, for Christ's sakes. You'd be heading right into the heart of a raging shitstorm.
I didn't say it would be easy. We'll figure it out once the kids are safe.
Jesus Christ! Kevin, out!
So World Marshal is backing Desperado,
You don't exactly sound surprised.
I did not catch it on the nose, but I did have a hunch it was this sort of thing.
Well, you're the boss. What do you think? Can we take them on?
What I think no longer matters here. As Kevin says, we have no legal grounds to stop them. And you? What would you have us do? Storm their headquarters? Kill them all? Will that make you feel better?
No, I mean, look, you heard him. They're already in VR training.
Raiden.
The Patriots may be gone, but it hasn't changed shit in the U.S. A handful of elites still get away with whatever the hell they want.
Raiden, calm down. Focus on rescuing the kids first. We will talk about this later.
Yeah, copy that.
Enemy sighted!
An artificial blood cryopreserver. They must have begun preparatory freezing.
What do you mean?
That device is filled with synthetic blood plasma. It can slow the metabolism of a harvested organ, circulating this plasma to sustain oxygen levels. You can preserve an arm, a brain, any body part for several hours.
So what are they freezing, and why?
I could not say. Perhaps they plan to sell off the organs of the children they were told to dispose of.
Unbelievable.
You had best hurry, Raiden.
Right.
Shit!
Hey, stop right there!
George! Raiden!
You've heard of chloroform? A potent anesthetic in smaller doses. But breathe too much of it? And adios, muchachos! Break that glass, and I'll blow his brains out! Surrender! Or decide, the needs of the many, or the needs of the few.
Raiden, don't worry about me now.
Quiet, pendejo! Surrender! I won't ask again.
George, are you sure?
I'm ready. Me life now so precious. Ting, what if me can take this skunt to hell with me?
Cállate!
That's all I needed to hear.
Stop it! Now! I'll kill him, I swear!
motive. President Hamilton is on his way to the Middle East this morning for his scheduled visit with Pakistani President Farouk Salam. The meeting is viewed as an attempt by the U.S. to strengthen relations amidst a surge of anti-American sentiment in the region.
Yo, me ninja brother!
George, good to see you up and about. How you feeling?
Never better, nah? No pain, no more for star while them hunger space eat, and me never ever feel so awake, nah?
That's because your blood sugar levels are being maintained automatically. Beats the hell out of coffee.
Oh! Me been here you go while I got them scone in the base. Why the rasta you not take me with ya, huh?
Damn it, Doc. Sorry, kid. You'd just be in the way.
Aw.
Besides, I thought you didn't want to be a killer, right?
Me don't, but...
Killing isn't fun and games. Remember that.
Right.
That's all I needed to hear.
It yearns to bathe in the blood of your enemies, but you hold it back.
Yeah, just remember that.
Private, what is this, Garnia? You cannot resign.
Sorry, Boris, it's done. Can't have a Maverick employee involved in a corporate raiding now, can we?
You could at least come talk to me.
No. It was time to break away from the old team, Boris. Past time.
You cannot take on Marshall all by yourself.
I won't sit by while they butcher little kids and ship their hearts around like meat. It's sick.
It's not all so simple, Ryder. They import those brains legally. For medical purposes, it's all done.
Being legal doesn't make it right.
Ryder,
Hold that thought.
I will patrol ahead.
Military cyborg, you are not licensed to operate in this area. You're in violation of state and federal law.
Guess you better arrest me then.
183-104.7, threatening a peace officer. Deadly force is authorized.
And a flurry of strikes against the cyborg and his brain-machine interface may malfunction. This will take him momentarily offline. The same applies to UGs as well. Strike often enough and their AIs become unable to keep up with the required real-time processing. Make that happen, and you can enjoy a decisive advantage. Assuming you have sufficient power, you could even enter blade mode and finish the fight right there. No matter how strong their armor, getting knocked offline leaves them completely vulnerable. I trust you do not mind my telling George about you, Raiden.
Could have done without that, Doc. He didn't need to know I was here.
Well, there was no reason to conceal that from him. My intention was not to impugn you. He has a right to know. It's not as if he can simply fly over there and meddle in your affairs.
It's throwing off my emotional balance, Doc. Things like that can negatively impact the mission, you know?
However do you mean? You did the right thing, did you not? There's nothing to be ashamed of. George has the best body we can give him right now. And the rest of the children are also safe. And quite content too, I should add. It was your quick decision-making that saves them, Raiden. George's body will require regular maintenance, not to mention a replacement upon reaching adult age. But the expense is more than worth it.
You planning on signing him up with a PMC? Because that's the only job we're good for, far as I can tell.
Oh, you are quite mistaken there. Just consider it. The power of a machine matched with the nimbleness and creativity of a human. The construction and public works possibilities alone are endless. I saw a news piece on German TV just the other day about a cyborg plumber, in fact. Let's not forget about elder care either. One needs great strength to bathe and care for the bedridden. But it's also very delicate work, if you follow. Not the sort of thing you'd leave to a machine.
Sounds great. So long as we don't start replacing the old folks' bodies, too. Just because they're old.
A valid concern, yes. I recall reading a comic like that once. An old farmer created a cybernetic body to fight evil military scientists and so on.
Yeah. But can't George do anything besides physical labor, though?
Oh, he has every right to choose another path. If he opts not to take advantage of his body's physical strength, he's free to pursue academia instead. His body provides a completely ideal chemical environment for his brain, after all. I can certainly see how that would prove handy in the realm of higher education. The only problem would be how to cover the costs. The issue of student loan debt in the US is thorny enough already, even for normal students.
Yeah. All this stuff's not just George's problem, though. All the other brains I'm gonna rescue will have to deal with it, too. Giving them bodies won't be the end of their problems. It'll be the beginning.
Indeed. On a happier note, though, excellent work in bringing George's lower body back. Now he'll very likely be able to produce children in the future. Bravo!
Raiden, what's your status?
They trashed my car. I'll have to go the rest of the way on foot.
Do you really have to do this?
Look, I'm fed up with all of it. Companies like ours, yours, bend the laws when it suits business. Why not bend it when it can save innocent lives?
Raiden.
Boris, listen to me. That VR training, they'll be warped into killing machines. They'll be set on POWs, civilians. It'll be one atrocity after another.
Like what you went through.
We can't have any more Jack the Rippers. You saw what happened with George. I'm doing this, Boris. I have to. I can't save those kids from becoming cyborgs, but I can stop them from becoming murderers.
Say you succeed. Say you get all the brains back. Then what?
Just so happens I know great cybernetic surgeon.
Doctor, but he cannot.
You won't change my mind, Boris. This is my fight now.
And your wife and son? What of them?
They're in New Zealand. Safe. Rose would understand why I have to do this.
All right, damn you. You do realize Marshall has the contract for law enforcement throughout the city. They are the law in Denver.
Yeah, we've met.
Well then. Officially, Maverick Incorporated condemns you and your actions as unlawful. And a pain in the asshole. Now, increase your codec encryption. Do not worry about the lag.
And unofficially?
I'll do all I can over the codec to help. I do not like what those Mudaki are doing any more than you.
Спасибо, товарищ. Спасибо.
Your earlier actions were reckless, Raiden. Not to mention the damage to a perfectly good car.
I knew the risks when I decided to go through with this. Besides, the car was mine. Maverick sold it to me. It's not meant for private use. It was made for ops like this.
Regardless, your approach has proven most antagonistic. You are now a criminal, a public enemy, a police-killing vigilante. Even if your actions reveal World Marshal's designs, you will be unable to avoid legal punishment.
Probably not. But that's a price I'll have to pay. I gotta stop that VR program and get those kids back. I sealed my fate the second I attacked George.
But George is not dead. In fact, he has obtained an even more versatile body than his previous one.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about me. I was a child soldier in Liberia, like Miss Trawl said. I was a mentally deranged child. People feared me, called me Jack the Ripper.
A result of the so-called Sears program.
I thought I'd left it all in the past. But just like that, Jack came roaring back.
This is why you are so driven to terminate the VR training. I understand. I will continue to cooperate.
Copy that.
I trust you're not still upset, Raiden.
About telling George about me? Look, let's just drop it, okay?
Gladly. I'm just glad I was able to assist you in operating the cryopreserver anyway.
I know, Doc.
Not that it's so difficult. With that pipe, you simply immerse the organs in the artificial plasma inside.
Yeah? I wouldn't think it was so easy to keep organs alive. How's it work, anyway?
Oh, it's quite simple, really. It uses chilled nanomachine-infused artificial plasma. That suppresses the metabolism and regulates the oxygen intake of whatever is stored inside. The nanomachines are fully self-pumping. Once hemoglobin is detected in the local environment, they release a flow of plasma into the organ where the body's original plasma is still present. When George's body was inserted into the storage cabin, artificial blood, chilled nearly to freezing point, automatically flowed in at the points of amputation. This dropped the internal temperature of the parts from 36 to 10 degrees centigrade. The result? The effective suppression of all metabolic activity. The plasma was also fine-tuned to keep the SpO2 level inside the organs at 90% or above. The synergetic effect of all this allowed the brain to reach the regenerative treatment facility quickly, before any cell tissue was damaged at least. A most effective device, I must say. A micro-gas turbine engine enables it to operate completely autonomously as a standalone unit. Would have been tough to lug over to the hospital otherwise.
Truly state-of-the-art indeed. I suspect it cost as much as a well-stocked emergency ambulance.
At the risk of speaking inappropriately, this group certainly knows how to use its budget.
Guess I should be glad these guys have got so much money to throw around. Doc, what's your status?
I am reviewing the pre-flight checklist now. I have hired contractors to handle shipping the brain units. We should be airborne in just a few minutes.
You sure you can pilot that chopper by yourself?
Raiden, of course. Need I remind you that we live in the golden age of unmanned flight? Even manned helicopters possess a robust semi-automatic mode. It is simple, really. So simple that I can continue to monitor your status and World Marshal security from the pilot seat. I must say, for the world's largest PMC, their security procedures are quite poor. Quite poor. Sadly, I did not have the necessary permissions to override their plans. Nevertheless, the data I did find should prove most useful. So please, do feel free to contact me whenever you like.
Appreciate it, Doc.
Well, it's not every day one has the chance to collect so many brains. Think of the data, the research. Oh, and of course, your personal safety was a concern as well.
I I am setting goal markers on your Soliton radar. Use them to follow me through this area.
Good boy.
I will ignore the condescension and take that as a compliment. You are welcome.
Boris, I want to check how raising the codec encryption level affects transmission.
Copy. Reading you 5, Raiden. You?
Loud and clear. I'm seeing a reduction in peak power when sending. We're on a broader direct sequence spread spectrum?
Da. Frequency hopping pattern changed to blue 1.
Copy.
Interference still appears below process gain, too. Hell of a system. Worth every dollar. What is your processing load?
I pinged HQ data storage with my tactical data line. The increase in latency is below 5%.
Хорошо. In that case, it will not affect mission. Our system is just one notch below toughest security available. Denver police cannot see we are even transmitting at all. All our communication is perfectly safe.
Copy that.
Cannot proceed any further via the rooftops. There is a freight railroad underground. The elevator ahead will take you to it.
This must be the railroad.
It would appear so. Likely part of Denver's old system. This city was a major transport hub in the early years of freight trains. This particular line appears to have been abandoned some time ago. It was originally constructed to transport supplies to an underground factory. But now, it seems even the electrical system is no longer functioning.
Yeah, it's pitch black in here.
As a cyborg, I trust this is not a serious concern.
So how long can George use that medical body he's in right now?
Well, the body's full shelf life has yet to be proven, but with regular maintenance, I would imagine 10 years or more. However, this is also a child's model. It will need to be replaced as he grows mentally and emotionally. But things have come together pretty well overall.
Guess that's gonna be a problem, huh?
It will. Also, this is the only body of its type I could procure on such short notice. I'm afraid the other brains will have to make do with their VR environment for now.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel right that George gets the only body, though.
Well, it was you who implored I do something for him, no? I assumed prioritizing him was called for.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, Doc. It was a pretty stressful moment.
We will have many more brains to watch over before long, I fear. Something I don't entirely mind, I should note. The more research subjects I have, the better. Still, some sort of decision regarding their long-term care shall have to be made soon. It will be some time before we're able to monetize any of this research, after all. As much as I might like to, I can't run this lab on good intentions alone, you know.
Yeah. We need to come up with something, and soon, for all our sakes.
We should be able to mass-produce child bodies in very short order, at least. By the way, I have a helicopter crew on standby to bring the brains back here should the need arise. I, too, will be departing in a little while.
Much appreciated, Doc.
Consider it an angel investment. Who knows what sort of new business I may be soon pioneering here.
Jesus, Raiden, this is a little over the top. I mean, I've seen you pull some shit before, but this,
You should know me better than that by now, Kev.
I thought I did. Look, I know there's no legal way to stop World Marshal, but there has got to be an alternative to going on a rampage smack dab in the center of Denver.
No alternatives, Kev. I'm getting those kids out.
Raiden, that VR training, it's like what you did in Liberia?
Judging by what Sundowner said in Mexico, yeah. That scientist called it the Sears program.
After ex-President George Sears, a.k.a. Solidus Snake.
Yep. Ironic that kid shares his name. Solidus trained child soldiers in Liberia while working as a CIA paramilitary. It's not a happy memory. All the drugs, the non-stop violence, it destroyed my sense of judgment completely. I was made to kill soldiers, POWs, civilians.
Raiden.
The next thing I know, Jack's back. I thought it was all in the past, but there I am, attacking a child.
You didn't have any other choice. Other kids would have died.
That's not the problem. I lost my cool back there. All I could do was think how much I wanted that guy dead.
A lot of us would have done the same.
Even if it meant killing George?
He's not dead, though. Actually, he really digs his new body.
Either way, I'm shutting this program down. Maybe they've got it better than me. They don't actually have to kill anyone in reality. But they're still going through the motions, having it pumped straight into their senses, just like real life.
All right. Just give me a call if there's anything I can do.
Sure. Raiden out.
Your only way forward is to return to the surface. You will exit into an evacuated commercial district. Security is heavy, but you need not worry about collateral damage when engaging the enemy.
About time. Finally, I can cut loose.
Proceed to the right from the exit. You will find a stairway on your right. Those stairs lead to a shortcut to World Marshal Headquarters. Do not be distracted by the advertisements. You are not here as a tourist.
Sure. I'll just buy a quick souvenir or two for Rose, and that'll be it.
Raiden, we must hurry.
Remind me to teach you about sarcasm sometime.
I understand your attempts at humor. I simply do not find them entertaining.
Quick question, Doc.
Yes, Raiden.
Doc, those kids, how are they feeling?
Oh, after the chloroform, you mean? No need to be concerned. Thanks to your quick actions, the effects have already dissipated.
Oh, good to hear. Why the hell were they using chloroform? I thought they stopped using it as an anesthetic ages ago.
Correct. Sevoflurane or isoflurane are the preferred inhalation anesthetics today. However, chloroform is still quite useful as an organic solvent. In certain doses, mind you. Otherwise, as that cretin mentioned, it can be a bit dangerous.
It certainly turned out dangerous for him.
Yes. In any case, its properties make it useful for an assortment of applications. The chemical synthesis of medication, for example, or creating the coolant used in modern cryopreservers.
Fascinating.
Indeed. Well, Raiden, wonderful work. Had you waited any longer before breaking the glass, things might not have turned out as well as they did.
Seriously now, Raiden. Isn't this all a bit much? Any decent lunatic would have quit after Mexico.
Jetstream, Sam.
I heard you dropped the lab director in half. Old habits die hard, eh, Jack? But now here you are. The child's soul, fighting for the children. Please, what do you really expect to accomplish here? Play savior to a bunch of brains? And what? Earn a medal? Think about it, Jack. No matter how many Mexican kids. But you're a man on a mission, aren't you? Gonna fix everything. Just you and your little sword there. Solve everything with violence. Is that it?
My sword is a means to an end. To protect those you'd prey on.
Really? Let me ask you. All those cyborgs you've killed up to now, maybe they weren't kids, but they were people. You ever think about them? When you're chopping them into hamburger?
They're adults. They made their choice.
Sure they're adults. Sure they signed up for this. Right on the dotted line of their BMC contract. Usually they're no strangers to war. In fact, many times they already lost a limb or two. Many times they were out of work and starving on the street. So yes, they sign up for surgery to fight God knows where. How else would you provide for your family when your country's embroiled in civil war? Pain receptors shut down, pumped full of fear-inhibiting nanomachines and sent right into the blender? Your blender? But they made their choice, right? Open your eye and see, Raiden.
I've seen plenty.
Then listen. Those battlefield emotions that the nanos suppress. Listen to them.
What are you talking about?
Shh.
There he is! Kill him!
Can we take him?
What's wrong?
The way he killed all the others? Oh, God. Please, God, don't let me die.
Let's do this!
This isn't fair.
Little punk!
Listen closely now.
Die!
This life. I watched my wife and son die. This is all I had left.
You ain't shit!
Goddamn IED took my leg. I needed a job.
Stop!
I didn't know what I was signing up for.
Is something the matter, Raiden?
I've nearly saved enough to bring Mama to the States.
Finish him off!
Whatever it takes to be free of this torture.
Stop it!
What am I even fighting?
Get off!
injured.
I thought they had a choice. A fair choice. Not like you.
People are different.
As opposed to AIs? You're all the same, huh? You and your brothers. Manipulating mankind for our own good.
It appears my statement has upset you. I apologize.
No, it's... I know you're right.
As for AIs, we adapt as we learn. Just as any intellect operates, man or machine. Altering the course of mankind is not among my defined directives.
I guess that's a relief.
Samuel's behavior does not match established parameters.
You know him?
Affirmative. We served together on 3 previous missions. He proved most capable.
You think highly of him?
I have always found him dependable. Until now. Scouting data for the next area. I'll patrol ahead. You follow. Raiden, your current emotional state appears highly volatile. I am sure you do not intend to abort the mission, but I suggest you avoid combat for the time being.
Raiden, come in. What is wrong? You knew those cyborgs signed up for this. What's the problem with it now?
Don't you get it, Boris? I thought you of all people might understand. I thought you knew what it means to take a life, the weight of it. Not an easy thing to put into words. What about when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan? You killed dozens of guerrillas.
Because Comrade Brezhnev told me to. Men don't like killing their own kin. Even animals are the same way. But when you really believe in someone or something, sometimes it is the only way. Your cause is just, Raiden. You must remember.
I'm trying, but... Christ. You're right. We've got to free those brains.
Yes. Stay strong, Raiden.
Raiden? You okay?
Yeah. They knew what they signed up for. Maybe life backed them into a corner, but they knew the risks.
Exactly. A contractor's always balancing those risks against the money he's making. Those cops are no different.
That, and they're actively helping Sundowner and Armstrong with all their shit. Having a bit of regret doesn't make killing kids okay.
Yeah, they had to know they were working for the bad guys. Even if they didn't, it doesn't absolve them of all their crimes.
Yeah, I know, Kev, but...
Raiden?
I don't have time to think about this right now. I need to get back to the mission.
Roger that.
Raiden, you appear to be suffering significant mental and emotional confusion. On the surface, you believe your cause for killing cyborgs is just. But deep inside, some part of you does not accept it. Some part of you does not truly believe in your sword of justice. It has lowered your effectiveness in the field.
I know. But if I just throw all that away, I'll...
Do you wish to abort the mission?
No. I'm the only hope those kids have got.
You have an important decision to make, Raiden. And soon. For now, it would be best if you avoided combat altogether.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Raiden, are you okay? Sam sure plays dirty.
No, he's right. The cyborgs who signed on with Desperado and World Marshal, most of them had no other choice. No one put a gun to their heads, but they were screwed to begin with. Their contracts worked completely against them.
Still...
I knew all that, but hearing those voices, it hit me hard. I guess I was just kidding myself the whole time.
Still, there's nothing you could have done for them. But those children...
I'll get them back.
Raiden, I just wish I could do more from here.
It's all right, Courtney. Sometimes just having someone to talk to is good enough.
I'm happy to help. I should probably save your data. All right, save complete. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, riding out.
Why did I trust them? Stupid!
Couldn't even help rebuild. I know, Jack. I know. Not so black and white now, is it? Is your cause just? Or is that just what you tell yourself? Fuck you! How pleased you are to chop away, Jack the Ripper. My name is Monsoon, of the Winds of Destruction.
Yeah, I guessed as much.
Feasting on the insides of your enemies? How easily you ignore the loss of life when it suits your convenience. So tell me, who saves the weak from the man who saves the weak?
You're the ones exploiting them. You take advantage of their weakness. Of course they get hurt when you set them up as your human shield.
Kill or be killed, Jack. Phnom Penh taught me that. Yes, you aren't the only one to grow up on the killing fields. War is a cruel parent, but an effective teacher. Its final lesson is carved deep in my psyche. That this world and all its people are diseased. Free will is a myth. Religion is a joke. We're all pawns, controlled by something greater. Memes. The DNA of the soul. They shape our will. They are the culture. They are everything we pass on. Expose someone to anger long enough, they will learn to hate. They become a carrier. Envy, greed, despair, no means all fast along.
How about foolish shit? Is that a meme?
You can't fight nature, Jack. Wind blows, rain falls, and the strong prey upon the weak. Sam tells me you see your weapon as a tool. Something that saves lives, a means of justice. Now there's a pretty meme. Exquisite. It spared you the burden of all the lives you've taken. Absolved you of guilt when you enjoyed it.
That is until the illusion was broken. Don't be ashamed. It's only nature running its course. You have no choices to make, nothing to answer for. You can die with a clear conscience.
You're right. About me, I mean. I knew something was off. After the Patriots, I thought I could walk off the battlefield and into a normal life. But here I am, surrounded by death, arguing philosophy with terrorists. I told myself this was about justice, about protecting the weak, but I was wrong.
Then you admit it.
I learned young that killing your enemies felt good. Really good. In America, my friends, my family, they helped me forget the devil inside. But who am I kidding? I was born to kill! The bit about my sword, that means of justice stuff, I guess I needed something to keep the Ripper in check when I was knee-deep in bodies.
You?
But you, all this, is a wake-up call to what I really believe. What I really am.
What are you saying?
I'm saying Jack is back. Doctor, turn off my pain inhibitors.
What? This is madness. You
do it!
All right.
Pain. This is why I fight. This is my normal. My nature.
You've lost your mind. I'll take this dance. No, Sam. Report back to the chief. He's mine. You're the boss. I misjudged you. You are like us after all.
Now you're just being nasty. That nickname you love so much. Want to know how I got it? Actually, why don't I give you a demonstration? I think it's time for Jack to let her rip. Death approaches.
Give it up! That your best? Forget it! Back to the earth with you! Too bad for that!
Raiden. It's time to focus on defeating the enemy.
Raiden? You okay?
Never better, Kev. This guy was a wake-up call is all.
But you...
We'll talk later. Right now, it's time for Monsoon and Jack the Ripper to get acquainted.
A truly fascinating cyborg. Remarkable limb detachment technology. Perhaps you'd benefit from such an ability, Raiden?
Yeah, not interested.
Ah, don't be so dismissive. Just consider it. With the right tactics, it could prove quite useful.
Sure, but, you know, I just don't think I could ever get used to it.
No? Indeed, I suppose detaching parts of your body would be quite a shock to the somatosensory system.
Yeah, that too.
Raiden, this is most irregular.
Humans are irregular, Wolf. You should know that by now. Anyway, no time for chit-chat. I need you to scout out that building.
Understood.
Now what will you do, Jack Ripper? You're dead. Bullseye. Do as you
Don't be ashamed. It's only nature running its course. Your means end here.
No, I passed one to you. Sure as the sun will rise, the slaughter will continue. Now, I return to the earth. Wind blows, rain falls. The strong prey on the weak. All is as it should be.
Raiden?
I'm fine, Kevin. Relax. I'll get the brains. I don't want this for anyone else.
All right, man.
Later.
You killed Monsoon. I'm impressed. The brains are in the server room undergoing training. Knock yourself out. Go nuts.
Well, Boris, that's Jack. What did you think? I read that only 1 in 50 soldiers can kill with zero hesitation. Guess I'm a 2%er, huh? I know what they went through, yeah. But I sure as hell didn't let it stop me.
No, I guess not.
Regular guys, they couldn't handle it. All the blood and body parts, the fear in dying eyes. Me, though, I like it. A lot. No hesitation, no regrets. Maybe it's in my blood. Maybe it's the Sears program. Probably both. The younger you learn a thing, the better you retain it, you know? I remember Liberia like it was yesterday. All the abuse, the threats at gunpoint. Next thing I know, I'm getting off on cutting guys to shreds.
Raiden.
But afterwards it was tough. Especially once I got to the US. I got counseling and education. But every time I talked with someone normal, I felt like all the killing I'd done was gonna crush me. And it didn't stop. Not in my dreams, anyway. I'd hear voices at night, calling out all my crimes, but I couldn't shut them out. The rest of my crew adapted to American life well enough, but I never could.
And it returns only now. I've always known you have a dark part in your mind. Perhaps I should not have hired you at all. Perhaps you should not be near Battlefield.
The hell with that. If I hadn't signed up, I wouldn't be here to help put an end to this. I gotta do what I can to stop that VR training. I'm not the only one suffering. I need to do this for my old friends. The boys back in Liberia who didn't survive. I survived all the killing, thrived on it, but the experience destroyed them.
Duh.
Sorry. I better get moving.
I'm sorry, sir. Our business hours for the day have ended. We are looking forward to Is that correct?
Watch out! They keep on coming!
Sundowner contacted you from the top floor. Time to make your way up there. The elevators appear to be disabled, which we should have expected, I suppose.
I will access the control unit. Perhaps you can hack an elevator and make it operational.
Ooh, splendid idea. By all means, yes. It seems the guards are storming the building. Raiden, get back to the entrance. Buy me some time to get this elevator operational.
You can control that UGT as well, yes? Give them hell! Elevator rein. For security purposes, the building is divided into upper and lower halves. The lower area consists of offices and meeting space for staff and visitors, while confidential military projects and technical research are restricted to the upper levels.
So that's where the brains in the server room will be, up top.
Indeed. But that elevator can only access the lower floors. You need to get to the 20th floor and past the security gate there to reach the upper area.
Let me guess. Time to find another left hand?
Well, that is the problem. Security cyborgs would not have sufficient clearance. But managers and senior staff have already been evacuated, no doubt.
So...
The only option is to cut the power to the security gate, which will not be easy. It is powered by no less than 3 systems, including a backup power supply. You will need to destroy all of the electrical control panels to disable them. In any case, you should arrive at the 20th floor soon. The electrical panels are most likely hidden in the walls. Use your enhanced AR to search for any unusual heat sources inside the walls there.
Where are these electrical panels?
I believe they are hidden in the walls. Use your enhanced AR to search for any unusual heat sources.
Wolf, what's your position?
My apologies. I appear to be lagging behind once again.
It's fine. We couldn't have hacked that elevator without you.
Indeed. Your gratitude is appreciated. I am headed your way now. There is no need to wait for me. Continue with your mission.
Got it.
It seems the security measure has been neutralized. Move, Raiden! Get this sundowner asshole! Beat the shit from him!
Whoa, Boris, whoa, all right. I get the idea.
That's some serious security they got there, huh? Pretty far cry from what we got at Maverick.
Raiden, shall I activate your pain inhibitors now?
No, keep them off. I need it this way.
Well, as you wish. I must say, I have turned more than a few men into cyborgs, but you... Well, your past is most,
What you getting at, Doc? Most of the time, you're working with First World ex-military. Grown men. Compared to the average Third World child soldier, I can't really complain. Most of them, they're the sort of guerrillas your typical patient gets paid to slaughter.
Perhaps, but,
This shouldn't be news to you, Doc.
Yes, but,
Look, just help me take care of those brains after I bring them back. I do my business, you do yours.
Yes.
They're pouring in from everywhere. This is crazy.
You do not have to fight every enemy you encounter, Raiden. Try and keep moving. Nice of them to blow open the door for me, yeah? Idiots. All these sliders in the area. Perhaps they could be put to use. Keep climbing like that. It will be much easier for you. Good, Ryder. Yeah.
Right a ways up now, yeah? Almost there. I have just finished analyzing the latest security data. You should find an indoor garden up ahead.
A garden? Sounds fancy.
A Japanese garden, to be precise. It is an area set aside for VIPs. Apparently, one of World Marshall's directors is a rather serious Japanese culture enthusiast.
All right. So what's this got to do with me? Is there something I need from the garden?
Not at all. You need only pass through that area to arrive at a freight elevator. I found a route to the elevator controls through the unit we hijacked downstairs. I have located the server room as well. You can reach it via the freight elevator.
Great work, Doc.
Elementary, my dear Raiden. Now, head for the garden.
A Japanese garden? Ugh. It is so flashy and horrible.
Not a fan, Boris? Well, to each his own, I guess.
You know, I visited a garden like that once, in Japan. The Kairakuen, in a city called Mito. Really nice. Taxi ride there was murder, though. I figured the cabbie wouldn't be able to speak English, so I gave him a map, but he still got totally lost. I think he probably got confused because the map was in English. I didn't think that'd be a problem, since it's not like the place names are any different. But apparently, the guy couldn't even read the English alphabet.
Courtney.
Yeah?
You caught all that. Guess I was Jack the Ripper all along. All that talk about justice, and here I am. Just another killer.
Raiden.
Listen. I want you off this mission. You don't have to go through this. Kev or Doc can handle saving for me.
Raiden, I don't want...
It's my responsibility to stop them before they make another Jack. It's my duty, no one else's. That's the way it is. Live by the battlefield, die by the battlefield.
Raiden, listen.
Courtney, this isn't the place for you. Keep working with me, and you're gonna wind up someplace dark.
I'm fine with that.
What?
They're kidnapping kids. They're ripping their bodies, tearing up their souls to make soldiers. I feel like they have to pay for this. If I just quit here, how would I live with myself?
Courtney.
I mean, maybe I'd be happier going back to school, getting my MBA, making 6 figures. But now I know. I've seen the truth. And I can't just forget it. Maybe I can't do what you can, but come on. At least I can handle your data. So do you want to save or not? All right, we're set.
You're sure about this?
Positive. Look, you know you aren't Jack the Ripper. I mean, sure, you don't exactly hate every minute of your job out there, but the Raiden I'm talking to right now, he's the same one I've always known. The one who'd put his life on the line to protect the innocent, not just some maniac with a knife.
Who knows? Maybe I'm just out for revenge against everyone who made me this way.
It's more than that, Raiden. That much I know.
In any case, I'm going to stop this VR training.
All right. Good luck, Raiden.
Raiden, I have reached the 20th floor. How should I proceed?
I thought you specialized in scouting, Wolf.
My apologies. I performed much better in the city.
It's fine. Check in with Doc. I bet he can help you out.
My apologies, Raiden. I seem to have fallen behind.
No worries. Actually, I should thank you.
What are you talking about?
If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have gotten Jack back.
Then, that is your true nature.
More or less. Still interested?
I find no reason to alter my objectives. From the moment we met, you have acted on emotional urges. You speak of protecting those weaker than you. Such people number in the billions. It is impossible. You cannot save every human being in the world. You cannot save every street child. After extended observation, I have come to a conclusion. Your actions are rooted in affinity for those from similar circumstances as yours.
Huh. Guess so. Not much of a superhero after all, huh?
However, your emotional status is understandable. Perhaps I share this same affinity.
Well, if that's what you feel, then glad to have you along.
Roger.
You can reach the server room via the freight elevator just ahead.
Now that is a weapon, eh? The great warhammers of medieval Europe were invented for breaking down heavy suits of armor. They were used by Russian cavalrymen for a long time, too. I would bet this hammer is intended for cyborg armor, yes?
Probably. It's too big to swing without advance warning, though. Ought to be easy to parry.
Duh. Let us hope you are right.
How's it going with the brain units, Doc? Any problems?
Oh, they could not be better. They're being kept at exactly 36 degrees Celsius with a steady, uninterrupted supply of oxygen and glucose. Synchronizing them with our equipment posed some difficulty, but everything's perfectly stable now.
That's good to hear. What kind of VR are they getting?
I've prepared very comfortable rooms for each and every one. It's not quite Schloss Neuschwanstein, but each one enjoys the equivalent of a 4-star hotel suite. Every room includes an attached pool and an extensive library of on-demand video programming. 3 meals are delivered daily, and while we're only able to do so much vis-a-vis taste sensation, it should satisfy the psychological need for food, at least.
Doesn't sound too bad. I wouldn't mind a little VR training like that for a change.
Oh, be my guest. I'd like to experience it for myself, you know, but for now it is available to cyborgs only. Exciting work is being done in the realm of invasive brain-machine interfaces, but there simply isn't much demand for it at the moment.
I guess not too many folks are willing to stick electrodes in their brains just for a taste of VR.
Perhaps, but the sense of reality is considerably improved over nanomachine-based non-invasive methods. If prices were kept low enough, I imagine the video game industry at least would clamor for it.
Who coded the virtual hotel?
An assistant. He used to write VR programs for UGs, but now specializes in cyborg software. A bit of a niche right now, yes, but when brain-machine interfaces take off, it will be a big business. The children's accommodation is a reworked version of the original beta software he built. The room's 3D models are all made using free libraries. It couldn't have been easier.
I wish everyone loved their work as much as you do, Doc. They don't go stir-crazy, though? Cooped up in their rooms?
There's little I can do about that. Creating an open world would take orders of magnitude more resources.
What about communication?
Another weak spot, yes. The NPCs available to us are all for military training purposes. It will be some time until we see VR characters capable of convincingly human interaction. Sadly, we're also not yet able to connect multiple brains to a single VR space. My assistants are operating virtual agents to give them a bare minimum of mental care. But our team is limited in size, and none of us are medical professionals, you know.
They can't stay in there forever.
You are almost at the server room, Raiden. Good luck.
What do you think about what Monsoon said earlier about memes? You think we're all doomed to follow some coded-in routine? That there's no free will?
Well, you're always going to have restraints based on what culture you're born into. The concept of memes was first proposed by Richard Dawkins in a book called The Selfish Gene. Dawkins, a biologist, stated that even if the actions of a living thing appear to be altruistic, each of its genes is still engaging in selfish behavior, purely as a matter of survival.
Yeah, I heard about that.
He went on to define memes as a different kind of self-replicating unit. They're the genes of a culture, from fashion to chord progressions in music, even political expression. And just like normal genes, they replicate. They grow, infecting more and more people.
You buy a shirt you like and put it on. Other people see you wearing it, then buy it for themselves.
Yeah, the genes of a culture makes it all sound pretty lofty. But the way Dawkins puts it, memes can also transmit worthless things, even the bad parts of a culture. Fashion's one thing, but value-related memes can put huge restraints on people's lives. For example, the idea that having lots of money is the ultimate goal, the thing we should all strive for.
Like in the US.
Any capitalist country, really. But anyway, you catch this money worship meme, then not only are you trying to get rich, you're also spreading that idea to other people. You have to. If that meme isn't the cultural norm, then what are you working for?
So you start spreading the word about how important it is to succeed, earn status.
Right. And the really contagious memes can be even worse. For example, revenge. A guy sees his countrymen killed by terrorism, so he becomes a terrorist and retaliates. It's an infinite loop.
I think it's the same thing with child soldiers. Kids' parents are killed by other kids, so they join the war next and start killing other people's parents. There's gotta be a way to break the cycle, though.
Dawkins wrote about that, too. How we can rebel against our genes and memes. Once you're aware of your own memes, you can train yourself to identify and replicate the good ones.
And kill the bad ones.
Right.
Well, that starts with me stopping this VR shit. The Sears program's one hell of a bad meme machine.